Peter. One observation I have from watching your videos and checking out related information is that often people join religious groups due to some very intense experiences, something which changes the way they look at the world and its spirituality. I also understand that at least some of these experiences can be created by quote-unquote normal methods, i.e. methods that are understood by psychology and there is no need to rely on spirituality to explain them. For example, I'm thinking about the quote-unquote high feeling Scientologists have on the TRs. Another example is what Darren Brown demonstrated in his show, How to Convert an Atheist. I think in both cases, the receiver is convinced that something supernatural is happening, something that cannot be explained by science. As a result, they are receptive to the explanation offered and become a believer. Do you have any advice for where/how to experience such an enlightenment safely? Personally, I would love to experience this myself. I also think this should be simply part of public education. It should be part of the curriculum at schools. Kids should learn algebra, experience what it feels like to sprint 100 meters, and experience how their own mind works. It should be available in community colleges. Heck, I think it should be part of traveling fun fairs. Okay, not sure what to say about all the last part of that, but the truth is that you're experiencing exactly what you're describing there about how someone can, think that they're having a supernatural experience anytime you want. All you have to do is tell yourself you're having a supernatural experience, and suddenly all the things you are observing and feeling and seeing will take on a supernatural tone and can be explained in supernatural terms. I mean, that's really how easy it is simply tell yourself that's what's happening. Or ask yourself if that's what's happening, and suddenly your mind will readily cooperate with that supposition. Right? That's how we work. That's how we operate. I mean, the way we think is an extremely counterintuitive process. I'm not going to go into the whole thing here, but it's not really the way we experience how we think or how we come to decisions or actions or agreement or beliefs. It's very backwards from kind of how we think it is, in that we come to decisions and ideas about things based mostly on subconscious, actions and activities that we're not aware of that influence our decision-making process or our rational process, as you might think of it. Which really hardly exists at all, by the way. Our experience of what we're thinking about is only a very, very, very tiny percentage of all the things that the brain is actually thinking or doing. If you define thinking as mental processes or neurons firing, then there's all kinds of thinking going on that you are not aware of and never will be. Regulating the involuntary parts of the body are some of that, but there are also all kinds of other things going on. So these are the things that, that lead to how you go about making decisions or deciding things are true or false. And so there's all kinds of factors hitting you. And Darren Brown, in his, great shows that he does, he demonstrates how malleable and easy it is to manipulate people's decisions or views about things. It's really nothing. It's not really hard at all. Anytime you look at an optical illusion, that's happening. Your mind is literally filling in blanks that don't, or putting in lines, let's say, where none exist, because the optical illusion is making you think something's there when your brain's telling you, well, this is what's supposed to be there, but it's not there, and you know it's not there, but you're still seeing it, right? Like, how does that happen? Well, it's because the brain's constantly trying to make sense of things and is trying to predict your reality based on past experience. So it's trying to fill in the blanks where, they might exist with something that's familiar and sensible to you, Anyway, I'm kind of really condensing a lot of very, very complicated information, but I'm using this to make the point that this kind of thing that you're asking about, having these kind of spiritual experiences where you believe you're having a spiritual experience, so that's how you interpret it, that's not an unusual way of thinking, is the point I'm trying to make. That is how you think all the time. You're just very used to it. And things like converting an atheist belief, well, that's a fairly spectacular thing. So it seems like it's something unusual and different in our thinking processes. But really, Darren Brown is just pointing out that this is just the regular way that people process information. This is the way your brain works. And I'm going to take advantage of the way your brain works to show you something spectacular. But I don't have to, Darren Brown here, he doesn't have to do anything amazing or weird or different to the person to get them to get their brain to fill in the blanks or do whatever it is he wants it to be doing, you see, is kind of where I'm going with that. So hope that makes sense. I do agree with you that kids should be taught all about this so that they do know how they think. Because right now, the way we're taught, the classical way of how we're being taught, how we think and what psychology is all about and all that, what the brain's doing, there's very recent research that is very much changing the traditional view of emotion and thinking. And I will be elaborating on a lot of that in later videos, but I just wanted to comment on it here because people can think, because the experience is so wild, that their brain must be doing something really wild. Not necessarily true, and that's all I'm saying here. So thanks for asking.